Wouldn't be hilarious if you remove the lahmiya and you lose the baritone?
Sure.
I'm in Chelsea.
Is that how it works?
Yes, and you lose.
Lahmiya works with your voice.
You lose the only thing that's somewhat appealing about you.
The only thing.
Yes.
Have you seen these eyebrows?
Like I said, the only thing that's somewhat appealing.
I've been told I have nice eyelashes.
You've been told lies.
Have you ever seen my eyelashes?
We see you every single day.
We see you every single week.
Have you ever really looked into my
I
eyelashes?
didn't.
Into my eyelashes. That is wild, yo.
I
looked into my eyelashes.
I'm
That's
just asking,
crazy.
You're so hairy. I cannot see the skin on your face at this
You need
point.
to be a more discerning, perceptive, observant person. Yeah, number one.
Yeah, my part
Try
of
harder. It's part of self-care.
Wow.
What are you today? Like, I don't even know where you are today.
Where am I?
Yeah.
I am right here.
No, where are you
Sir?
coming from, Yani, sir?
Where am I coming
Sir,
from?
sir.
Eskimo Adil?
This is not Eskimo Adil. This is...
Oh yeah, I didn't see Eskimo Adil.
This is Naktak Adil.
Hey, welcome back to Kabsa Boys. Adil. So awful.
I actually like that.
I hate this podcast.
It works. We're looking something new here.
I got the home chefs right next to me.
Yo.
I got number one in the building.
This podcast is awful.
Episode 242. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you.
We're still on 242.
Yes.
Oof.
Yeah, we took a long
Yeah,
vacation.
but I'm just saying, we need to get past the 40s.
Turks is still on vacation.
Now that Turks isn't here, I can finally say the truth I've been afraid to say all the time.
What?
Brisket sucks.
Does it?
Screw you, Turks.
Look. Let's be honest. Depends on who makes it.
Turks makes it. It's bad.
Have you tried Turks?
I just أبغى أحشي.
No. Turks is great.
But he's been...
But a lot of people really drop the ball.
He's been lacking in his cooking skills, Turks.
Yeah, this year Turks hasn't done anything for us.
Yeah, he fell
Other
off.
people get the meats.
Yes.
We don't get the
Yeah,
meats.
fuck us.
Yeah,
Then again,
bro, I've been told about this. He does this thing with butter. Apparently, it's quite good. And I had the 10-minute
He does
conversation.
what
I
with
had a
butter?
10-minute
No.
conversation with somebody about Turks' butter. So
He does what with butter? Use it in cooking? Be more specific.
I don't
my
know.
guy.
He spices it up. I guess I don't know.
عادل guess.
oh no, he put herbs and
Yeah.
butter. Oh,
Is that not a thing?
عادل, guess what? He uses oil when he cooks.
oh my God.
That's also something they do. So
You know what? That's a great conversation for us to have that both of you are not gonna like.
foods.
Both of you, دلوعين.
Yes.
We are lacking in essential life skills. Yes, if that's what you're asking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I was doing something this week and I was like,
Eggs.
no, I wasn't cooking. No,
Okay.
I was Googling something and I was trying to pick between two things. I'm like, do the boys know how to tell the difference between like different items when you're
What,
grocery
like
shopping?
كزبرة وبقدونس?
Oh yes.
مثلا. No. I
can-
rely on the man
I can use Google.
who sells them, to tell me the difference between
I can use
كزبرة
Google.
وبقدونس.
Like, هذا فيها 3 angles في الورقة نفسها. Like something like this.
I don't think that's how they sell them.
I don't know. بقول
Not
لها
like
يا
Google.
محمد
Wow.
بقدونس كزبرة وين؟
But so
Exactly.
what were the items you were searching? Just so
No,
we're-
it's not, I'm just doing like basic shit. Like,
were they hammers?
okay, when was the last time that you renewed your car registration? That you did it,
I
not
did
the
it.
driver.
هو شوف كويس إنه في أبشر.
Okay, see,
Yes.
all right,
Technology makes things better.
all right. So the driver took it for the checkup
Uh-huh.
because you didn't take it yourself.
No.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, y'all don't do nothing.
I pay his salary for a reason.
Yeah, see, these are the
No, see, I understand you because you don't drive, right?
which
I
is
d- I
even
don't
worse,
like-
by the way.
You don't
don't-
like to drive.
I
Yes,
No.
I don't drive. That's why he has a driver.
Again, which is even worse, by the
Yes.
way.
What?
Take some ownership into your life.
What?
Son.
It's called شايلة راحة دماغي.
And I agree with that as well.
Exactly. I'm not
Yeah,
going to deny that.
fortunately.
Like, he has a driver on deck 24/7.
Chauffeur, sir. It's
How
called a
many
chauffeur.
times was your chauffeur like parked outside for like 9 hours?
I don't know. He just knows. I don't even tell him.
Just
I
knows.
I don't even tell him. Like, yo, طالعين. It's Saturday. Like, I know where to go.
Okay.
Yes, master.
This is the benefits of having a routine schedule, صراحة. But back to your point.
It didn't get out of الكهرباء. What do you do?
I call the electric company.
And
Ask them ليش ما في كهرباء. يا جماعة, is this normal? I remember paying a bill. I'm sure someone paid the bill, not me. بس إنه يعني,
exactly.
yeah,
See, again.
we pay bills in this house.
Do you use Sadat
I do.
for bills?
Yes, I do.
Credit card bills?
See, you don't count because you have family members that you take care of.
It's called being responsible.
Exactly.
Also phone bills. I do that for phone bills.
No,
Yeah.
it's automatic. Do you know how to set up your Sadat account?
Automatically?
Yes.
I'm sure there's a way.
Yeah, Sheikh.
I'm
Of
sure
course,
there's
there's a
a
way.
way,
It's there.
Do you have a bank account?
Yes.
You're halfway there.
Okay. We're progress. We're making steps here. Yeah, but again, it comes, I think, with living in a community where things are taken care of, I guess. Mm-hmm.
شوف بعيد عن كل شيء ترى احنا في نعمة.
Bro, I'm trying to make it social here. Come on, bro.
It's the family
Yeah,
house.
بعيد
it's the
عن
Arab way, Adil. It's the Arab way.
بعيد عن كل شيء احنا في نعمة.
Alhamdulillah.
Like
Let's say that again. احنا في نعمة. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, like the idea of I can do everything from a phone call or from a text message or from an app. We're already خلاص دلوعين by default by most of us. Yeah.
Keep in mind, برضو, living in Saudi over the past couple of years, the pace of technological advance in terms of what you can do with your phone is just crazy. The fact that I can get, somebody to build me an entire roof just by clicking my phone on two apps.
No, that's called SimCity.
No, I'm talking about بس عرفت تجيب سباك, تجيب نجار, exactly. You can get anything you want with your phone right now. So that plays a big part in that as well. عرفت?
That was the combination of two. It was a combination of the government making it possible and the people making use of that. So all that came together as a balance.
And you're still seeing that. That innovation is still...
Yeah, we have it better than a lot of other countries. I'll be very honest. I'm talking about even like first world. That's what I don't know. What's the second world?
It's the Soviets. They don't exist anymore. Yeah.
All right, never mind.
They were extincted,
Okay, no,
like the dinosaurs.
That's not what we're going to do.
Yes, the third world اللي لاعبين على الحبلين.
Yes.
So everybody else, basically.
Yeah, like renew my passport on my phone, renew my license, do everything on my phone. Then I just have to go to the process of picking it up and come back.
Well, come on, the fact that...
Or home delivery.
Home delivery, it's the time that you're saving, it's the money that you're saving. You're paying for peace of mind, again. And that's, I think, a big part of what, the whole digital phone revolution has allowed you to really lessen the interaction with other people and make things less less friction, yeah.
It's also, you save money and you save time.
Well, that's the
Because before
point.
the time was a problem. Anything you have to do for AJ Hakumi, it's a whole day.
And not just that.
If that.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you need to get there at the right time, you need to wait in line, you need to go through the process, the paperwork, all of that. Oh, لا دي المكتب الغلط, go get that form. That whole process is now, solved by 1, 2, 3 apps that you have on your phone that you can do 60, 70 services with.
Yeah, the amount of paper waste that's no longer needed. It's like they're just... Every angle you view it from, like, there's so much more efficiency, so much more time being saved, so much more money being saved.
Exactly. That was the key word right there, money.
No, but come on, the begs another question. How far is this going to go, right? You're going to get to a point where you're not going to have to deal with people for anything? Is that where it's going
is that the dream?
Right, من جد يعني, in terms of getting all of the services they require. Like right now, for example, you want to open a bank account, you're still going to have to talk to a person, right?
Yeah.
Is it going to get to a point where,
I hope so, certainly.
Yeah, you're just going to get an AI that assesses your...
You can already open a bank account
character.
online, but you still have to go there to finalize
paperwork.
things. Yeah.
Signatures, so on and so forth.
The less human interaction, the better. Like
Wouldn't you trust humans more though? Isn't that what the benefit of, like, humans can respond in ways that machines can't, right?
I would always want human customer service, sure, but machine everything else, please.
No, and where's the limit now? If we're talking about medicine, right? And if I'm going to rely on a doctor to do a procedure over, satellite or whatever. And at that point, at some point, I can trust that because, hey, at least it's a doctor controlling it. There's a human element there. But
that I don't trust.
At what point do you stop?
I don't want the surgeon to be affected by the Wi-Fi.
Satellite. زي شو اسمه هذاك ثريا.
What?
So again, and the point is, you can set it up in ways where it's lagless. It's not something that you're going to...
الله يهينك يعني طق احجز تذكرة يعني عادي.
No, but again, we're talking about cost savings. We're talking about time savings. We're talking about being able
efficiency.
to be... Yeah, we're talking about you're a doctor that has a specialty that is very rare, and you're able to do 6-7 surgeries a week in your place at home rather than having to do 1 surgery a week by traveling.
Look, all of them have their own risks. It just depends on what was the work that was done to make sure that other problems don't happen. right? So when you're talking about someone doing surgery from across the globe, I know what you're talking about. When 5G came out, they're saying, yo, we're now at a place that the speeds can be so good
And it's
that you
happening.
can perform.
And it's already, there's examples of that
There's
happening.
tests
Yeah.
that's been happening. Okay. I understand all that. But what we're looking at is that in case of failure, how many failure points are there?
Redundancies, you mean?
Exactly. If there's a redundancy to every single little part and there's X amount of failures that could happen, but the redundancies are available for them, then you'd be saying, okay, if this cuts off, then this goes back in, so we're still there, we're all good, right?
Mm.
So once you have that information, you'll be fine. I mean, look at airplanes. We've been
Yeah.
flying in the air.
A piece of advice to all listeners: if you're a bit squeamish, if you're a bit paranoid, do not look into the typical failures or issues in a typical airplane flight, because there is no such thing as a flight that didn't have some sort of failure at some point.
Not helpful information, but
I'll let you. You have to know, like every single.
No, even
flight-
worse, look at it in private jets.
Yes, every single flight you've been on, Ya Shamsi, had some sort of technical malfunction that you did not know about.
not important enough for me
And
to
there
know
was
about.
there was a redundancy in place for if this happens, we go into this mode and we still get there safe.
So does that say to me that there's always going to be a human element that is going to be in place for critical decisions?
Who's going to check the AI? Who's going to check the machines?
Well,
Who's going to make sure that up to specs?
if it gets to, and we are getting to that point where we know that AI can do things at a much faster rate than humans can, right? Or could. So we're gonna. I believe that at some level there's going to be some trust in these AI systems that's going to come into these different, let's say, fields, whether it's traffic, whether it's air control, whether it's whatever else it is, you know. But again, you're going to still have to trust them because they're going to be able to do things that you can't. So that's my question. Where do you stop the trust?
Well, look, we, like everybody, as the world is new to AI, we never had to think about those things, right? We're all still relatively new to how much we can actually use Wi-Fi and wireless. So there's technology that's always advancing, so we're always learning and figure out new ways. But the people who've been working on these things have been doing it for X amount of years, no less than 10.
No, but so would you argue? And yeah, I would say we're not even in the AOL stage of AI, right?
Oh yeah, we're still
Like
early
where
stages.
it's not like AOL was
Like
you know,
AI is still like a rumor.
it's a lab somewhere in somebody's
You know it exists, but
somebody's
you're never
college,
sure.
somebody's
The
university.
only thing that you can see how AI, like in action, has been military weapons.
which is also not a reassuring thing, right?
Yeah, it's the only one for so many years. You've had smart missiles. It's not like they started last year. From like the 80s and 90s, you had missiles that knew exactly which target they want to hit.
Mm.
You had missiles to understand what happens in different altitudes.
But again, those are controlled parameters, right? There's a certain function that missile come explode, rather than an AI tank that's gonna be a whole different game changer in terms of what it can do and what it can't do.
I think when you look at it, you look at the small
AI
things.
AI
how they
plane,
can-
AI fighter plane. Let's look at that.
Oh, there's a lot of them.
Those are called drones.
Called drones.
Ya
No,
Shamsi.
but I'm talking about fighter plane capabilities with an autonomous pilot behind it.
That's been being tested for the last 6, 7, 8 years,
Yep.
something like that.
This isn't there like this whole UN against autonomous weapons discussion going on right now.
What was it? A discussion?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we keep it there.
And DARPA. Yeah, and DARPA says,
Exactly.
Not reassuring, fellas. I'm trying to get reassured here.
Look, not reassuring, but I always look at it this way. It's really fucked up. So because of wars, we were able to figure out a lot of new things, a lot of new technologies,
From rocks to missiles.
right?
Mm.
So
Agreed.
as wars advance, new technologies come about that passes down.
Go. You guys a point to me.
the greatest motivators of technological advancements are warfare. What's the other one? Pornography.
Okay.
I am not kidding.
Yeah.
I am not kidding.
Okay.
The range.
Yeah, feel free to expand on that, sir.
Who the hell figured out high bitrate?
War crimes and happiness.
This is called spectrum, sir.
I am-
Spectrum, sir. From happy to angry.
I am not kidding.
Oh my
Who the hell
God.
figured out high bitrate video streaming?
Russian pirates.
That's a good point. How did Viagra come together?
Russian
Well, they're looking
pirates.
for answers for heart disease.
Yeah,
Anyway.
again, like the idea is
Vibes.
that if you are willing to understand if this can be monetized, those two things, if they can monetize it, you're good to go.
No, but again, it's an interesting argument, and I think it's one that we're largely in agreement here, that war is one of the things that drove human, thinking. Oh, how can I kill the other person better than he can kill me?
How can I make better roads so I can
To
move
kill
my-
more people.
Exactly.
Yeah,
yes,
this
yes.
is
To
what
move my weapons. How can I go through this mountain by building a tunnel?
This is what the Romans did. Yes. Chinese, the gunpowder, the game kept going. So again, we are here, talking about the privileged life that we have, where we have access to AI technology and phones that do everything that you want with the press of a button, largely because of war.
Yes.
Largely because,
The internet didn't come around
Yeah.
because it was good for society.
oh no, they wanted, to bomb the second world. And they did. But that's the scary part for me. Like, I look at it in terms of the pace of the technological change. Like right now, we're talking about, we've seen how different the world can be in 20 years with and without the internet. Like, we actually remember that world, and we see how the internet has just supercharged everything, right? Like, you have so much more information, so much more, speed, so much more like access to the services in the world overall. So what can AI do? That's the question that I'm really looking at here. How much more can we really take as people? Like, in a sense, we're not, you can't even really process that.
And your regular day to day.
I'm just
I know what you mean. You want to continue?
no, so in terms of the internet, you're a single small piece node in this huge network. Now we're talking about, hey, things that are much smarter than you and much faster than you that are going to build a much bigger network than you probably ever could.
Well, it wasn't the idea that whatever you think of, you can bring to life.
Magic? Is that what we were talking
Let's
about?
talk about magic.
Shower.
You know,
Sorcery?
Exactly.
any technology that's sufficiently advanced is indistinguishable from magic.
Exactly.
Arthur
So
C. Clarke.
you have, when you look at it, what is the next phase of AI? For you as a human being with a day-to-day work that has nothing to do with wars or whatever, you're looking at how can this help my workflow?
شوف يا بعدول. أنا what I'm hoping for is, I have 2 hours of work per day where I go in, I check to make sure the AI does everything, and the rest of the day أتهوى by the AI.
Okay, and then
That's called being Homer Simpson.
exactly.
Yeah.
But then you ask yourself the question:
No, but that's the ideal,
get paid
right?
what you're getting paid today?
No, more, because we live in a society. No, but see, that's the thing. The idea with technology is it's supposed to make people's life easier, right? It's supposed to allow us more time
But
to have
everything comes-
leisure.
Okay,
and,
no. It's
it's reciprocal to how much knowledge you have
you need to balance
and how
right?
much value you add to society.
If you want to build technology to help society, there has to be something that comes at a cost, and the person who's get paid for is who? Society.
هو بيصير في drones at that point, like actual worker drones, not.
So the idea
flying
is,
drones.
if you're going to build things for society, where do you stop? Where does it become, okay, society also needs to live, needs to have a purpose. You as a human being, you are born with a purpose. You have to find your purpose. It could be just like, تشرف في الأرض. It could be anything.
I stop where the shareholders tell me to stop.
See?
And that's a very hard limit, though, right? Like, I'm thinking bigger here. I'm thinking to the point where, can we talk about a post-capitalist society, guys?
Let's go.
No,
That's called Star Trek.
no. I mean,
It's called Kumbaya.
No. Okay, so capitalism is premised on one thing, right? I want something more than you want it, so I will look out for me more than you.
No, that's not. But
that's
Islam.
not.
يعني again, مصلحتي أهم من مصلحتك. Let's put it that way.
No, that's
Not
that's
really.
called objectivism.
Yes.
Man is driven by
Capitalism
his,
is I make, you make, we all make.
No, but again, it's
But how much?
No. The intrinsic idea is that you are the only person who could look out for your own self-interest, right? So you should do whatever you want to maximize your own self-interest, and now that builds us into bigger, more complex forms of organization.
I think this is what
corporations.
capitalism turned into.
Hey, ما أقول لك.
Yeah, you're not describing capitalism.
Yes.
You're describing quite literally objectivism, which is a philosophy that was espoused by a notable author called Ayn Rand. Capitalism, yeah, Shamsi, it's basically the idea that goods and services should be exchanged freely, and the market should decide
And dictate.
dictate what goods and services are worth.
And
That
this
is the ideal.
And this is where the idea of your own self-interest comes into part, because what is the market?
Because you want the bigger piece of the pie.
Yeah, but a collective of individuals that act in a hive-mindish way, right? So taking that idea and building it to where we are today, where we have corporations and where we have like all these complex forms of governance that allow us to maximize the self-interest to each individual person, i.e. shareholder. I'm positing a future in which, hey, things are done in such an efficient way, value is maximized in such an efficient way that there is much more capital to be spread around, which allows that self-interest to not be just defined to one individual, but to a collective. Whatever collective form that may be. Now, that may be a national collective, that may be a, like organizational company, elective Google, whatever, or that can be a communal collective, whether it's a town.
All you're saying is tax the rich.
You're describing
That's literally what you're saying.
You're describing a post-scarcity society.
I'm saying you're getting to a point. Yeah, exactly.
That's not going to happen.
Expound.
Because a post-scarcity society posits one thing, is that
what would break down
Yes.
post-scarcity?
the idea of commerce as a concept is dictated by scarcity. You
Mhm.
do not have infinite commerce, infinite goods, infinite services, infinite time, infinite resources, etc. Everything that you need to function in a society is dictated by
Finite.
limited
Yeah.
availability. The idea of a post-scarcity society is that every single need, want, and desire is available indefinitely, so that invalidates the need to work.
Mm.
So the idea of a post-scarcity society is that you will only be constrained by individual desire for self-actualization.
So Star Trek society.
That is literally the idea of Star Trek.
Yeah, okay. So we
That's
go back
quite
to Star
literally
Trek.
the basis of
That's
Star Trek.
society. Okay. No, I'm talking about the middle stage between this and where we are today.
That's called Mad Max.
Post-capitalism. Yeah. But okay, Mad Max.
Yes.
Okay.
We're not going to get there. Look, did capitalism cause a lot of harm? Yes. We're not going to deny that.
Yes. It's the least worst system.
And exactly, it's literally that. And on top of it, there's no reason to discuss the end of capitalism because no one understands how it's going to be. All you understand is that there are people that are working harder than you and making more money than you. And then there are corporations that are trying to basically be the one-stop shop for everything and be the powerhouse.
Mm.
And then you have the problem between the people with the power and the money and the people with the power. And then that becomes the problem there. How do you regulate that? The only reason capitalism didn't kill everybody is because there's regulations in place to not allow it to kill everybody.
I mean, it's trying.
Of course it's going to try because you as company X know that, as number one said, limited resources. Let me take as much as I can right now until I figure out the next stage rather than try to fight for small little percentages.
Yeah. Do you know why the reason minimum wage exists? Because if a company pays you minimum wage, they're basically saying, screw you, I'd pay you lower if I could.
Exactly. That's true.
Which is a very nice way of
And this is
minimum wage
this is
workers,
regulation that says, hey, in order for this person to live in this place, he needs a minimum of X amount for them to survive, or else he's not even going to work for you.
Mm.
And that's why regulation is super important when it comes to capitalism. Capitalism is very, very difficult to get into.
No, but I think the problem with that is there is no other even ideal alternative. There's no other discussed alternative since the system that, capitalism has been dominant for 200, 300 years now. And whatever challenges that have come up,
Did it work?
Second world.
Question, did it work?
At a very high cost. Yes, at a very high cost.
What's the very high cost?
I'd say no.
What do you mean?
Were you referring to communism?
I mean, no, when you say would it worked, I'm talking about capitalism.
Talking
That's
about
what
capitalism.
I thought
yeah.
you were referring to
Yeah.
No, I'm talking
communism.
about
Yeah,
capitalism.
capitalism worked, yeah.
Worked,
at a very
yeah.
high cost, yes.
What's the high cost?
Lives, destruction to the environment, nations being upthrown and so on and so
Oh,
forth.
was that happening before capitalism also?
Capitalism drove a lot of it.
Really?
Yeah, and it
From
went-
what we remember,
Yeah,
actually,
and
not from the reality
What-
of the
was-
history
was-
of the world.
Was Genghis Khan was Genghis Khan like shopping his VC around?
He wanted more silk.
He needed more shareholders.
Yeah, exactly. Homie wanted the road. called
Was
the Silk Road.
was Timur the Lame shopping his startup? I'm like, yo, Ottoman Emperor, I'm gonna kidnap you. But
No, what's the
first,
dude-
I'm gonna finish my funding round.
What's his name? The
But
Russian dude.
they did spread, their
Stalin.
culture and society.
Stalin, yes,
throughout.
Stalin. طيب.
That man was someone who had to do what he had to do.
Really? Killing his own people?
No, he don't. I'm not telling you.
Like 20 million or something?
No. I'm not telling you.
That's the estimate.
That's the estimate, right?
I'm not telling you he did good things. I'm telling you he did what he had to do to keep his nation running. According to
Did
him.
he though?
I mean, honestly, after him, everybody was.
Your
really,
model is literally killing your own people.
No, honestly, he's not my model. Nowhere.
No. His model.
Yeah.
His model was actually killing his own people.
There's this guy called Mao Zedong. You might have heard of him.
He also did that. in
Welcome
other
to
ways.
Past the Capsa History, ladies and gentlemen.
And where
to discuss wars.
where we went from post-scarcity to Mao Zedong.
The definition of scarcity.
How about we change the conversation?
In other news, how's it going, fellas? It's been a minute. I missed this.
Like 25 minutes later.
Well, I miss these heavy intellectual conversations that go nowhere. They're wonderful to have.
I was hold on, let me. So Pharrell dropped his Louis Vuitton collection.
Huzzah!
Okay. And I would like to say I was super disappointed.
Really?
Really disappointed
By
everything.
you expected much better.
Oh yeah.
Wait, so the collection that he dropped is different than the fashion show he did.
No, it was similar to it. There was a lot of things on the fashion show that didn't make it to the collection.
That's
so I think
that's
it's
what
going
I'm
to come later
asking.
on. But like I understand. Okay, first off, 53,000 riyal for a bag. That's a Speedy 40, just in different leathers.
A Speedy 40.
Yeah. So again, see, this is what I mean when I say y'all are not going to be.
Yeah.
Y'all are not going to be good husbands in the future.
Adil,
Y'all need to understand these things so you know how to buy gifts for people.
look at my thobe and count the coffee stains.
That's true. That's true.
I am not the demo here.
Yeah.
Yeah, my iPad's over there. I showed y'all. Anyway, the collection was meh.
How many?
I think in terms of accessories, he did a good job. In terms of bags and whatever, I think that was a good job in terms of accessories. I think clothing didn't hit.
So was this his first new drop?
Yeah, that's the first one.
actual drop.
Yeah, the first one.
Okay, so he's testing the market basically.
You're Louis Vuitton. I'm not here for you testing the market.
I mean, I'm taking the brand into a brand new direction, bold new direction.
Well, that's it. You didn't take it to a new direction.
Okay, a controversial opinion, hot take. Go on.
No, when Virgil came, he really took it to a new direction, and it shocked everybody for a minute. But
It's an evolution,
the
sir,
offering,
not a revolution.
during Virgil's time was a little bit between the classy Louis Vuitton that you already knew and the new edgy Louis Vuitton.
Okay.
When you look at Pharrell collection, if you have been following Pharrell like I have since basically like high school, if you saw what Pharrell has been about, or when you saw the Billionaire Boys Club, Babe, and everything, it just looks a more luxury. It's like I'm wearing Pharrell. It's like I'm dressed as Pharrell.
what does that mean? And describe that.
You didn't make something for everybody to create their identity through. You kind of brought your identity and said, yo, this is how I wear just like it, but Louis Vuitton leather. That's all you did.
No, but that's always been Pharrell's strength, right? He had that ability to really ooze or exude.
Varsity jackets, really?
No, but exude his personality into the things that he did. Whether it's Bape or BBC or
you
whatever.
got me a varsity jacket, a shirt, and a pants, an LV pattern, and you tell me, oh, this is different.
Wasn't it? I'm just asking. Yeah.
I'm asking you, it's regular jeans, a shirt, and a varsity jacket that you can buy from everywhere else, except this one just has the LV pattern on it.
How much LV pattern on it?
Does it really matter?
Not for me. See that?
Well, it's too much.
Exactly.
It's too much.
Yeah, too much for people.
Yes, and
For you.
for a lot of people, I sat there. I was okay. Let me look at the accessories. The accessories were actually nice. The colors of the bags, the big checkers, and so on and so on. I actually enjoyed that. I found a couple of good ones I actually liked, but couldn't have the heart to make any purchases because I felt like, okay, some of the things that Pharrell released, I was like, this is going to be timeless. I need to purchase this one. When I looked at this, I'm like,
nothing there. Round one. Hadi.
Round one.
Yeah, round one. Yeah, Hadi. Round one will dictate the response to round two.
Again,
round
I'm also talking about my taste, right? The hype beasts all loved it.
Which credit to Nantuck Adil is quite
Nuntuck.
Nunchucks. Who are the Nuntucks?
It's a Inuit name because Eskimo Adil.
Not helpful
At all.
Yeah, Greenland, from the land of the green.
I said that was enough conversation about wealth for a second.
Yeah, I zoned out because I was just counting the coffee stains on my clothes. Like they keep multiplying. Every time I look, there's a new one.
You should drink less coffee then.
No.
Number one.
No,
Let's talk
it's
about
no-
the biggest news in the region. The U.S. came for democracy.
Oh, of course they did.
Mm.
I remember a speech that happened about 4 years ago
Mm.
where this old, raisin-like old man came on TV and said, hey,
Leathery, you might call him.
he's like, hey, the things that are happening in Yemen is a no-no. And the Houthi group is not a terrorist group. And we will remove them from the terrorism list.
Those were the days
And democracy is back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here. We're America.
to democratize.
But
Yes.
but Adil, the commerce.
Now, bring it back to capitalism.
The finite commerce. Yes.
So,
Basically what happened.
yesterday, the US and the UK, along with a bunch of other
A coalition of freedom-loving countries.
exactly bombed. I don't know, like they dropped like 76 bombs on Yemen,
Yeah, it was, I think, in Hudaydah, Ta'az, basically targeting
Sana'a.
Basically targeting like, hey, weapons, bomb the weapons.
And in response,
Radars, weapons, and so on. Oh, no, nothing. Al Houthi came out and was like, we're going to do things. Houthi, before that, he came out and he was like, gosh, it's like we say, it's like, we hold Saudi responsible for anything that happens to us.
Our neighbor.
Like, bro.
wait, aren't they the one targeting shipping?
Yes.
And this is a response to that, supposedly.
Yes, no, it is a response to that.
So
Because
have they been so that tells me they have been successful in targeting shipping. Have they?
they targeted 26.
Okay.
And then one out of the 26 was the no-no.
Mm.
Because that one was oil.
Mm.
And America doesn't want oil prices to go up.
Mm.
The commerce.
And
The
they were
commerce.
Like, yeah, sure, the commerce, sure.
Yeah.
Because all like 25 of them were all commerce. No one said anything. But when it came to the oil,
But not the right commerce.
The big,
exactly.
the big commerce.
Not the big one.
So
Exactly.
then America was like, you know what? No, these are bad guys now.
Mm.
We changed our mind.
And because of that, we end up with more bombs and more killings and more people losing
Yes,
their
they've been
lives.
bombing them for 2 days straight now. Here's the thing that I found very interesting.
Democracy.
Yes, democracy. So there was a spy Iranian ship that was at the Red Sea. Everybody knew that it existed.
Mm.
Like it wasn't like, oh my God, look, this came out of
It
nowhere.
wasn't a great spy.
At all.
Very bad spy.
Very bad. It was like,
Okay.
What? We are Iranian? No, we are not.
you can smell the mashwi.
I am from Brazil.
So an hour to 2 hours before the attack, it left the Red Sea.
Went spying somewhere else. Okay.
So the question was, did the US communicate with them? Because it looks like it.
Why would they though? Mm.
How would Iran know that some bombing is about to happen? How?
I smell sulfur.
You had that ship parked there for a while.
Mm.
And then you said, oh, it's here because to defend the Houthis. And then all of a sudden, 2 hours before, like the coward that you are, you ran away from a conflict.
But they don't. I'm sure I read it somewhere, but there was on record statement that the UN and the US and the UK gave the Houthis a heads up. Look, we're gonna bomb.
That's also another rumor. I think it was the Washington Post?
It was confirmed. Like, so I
So leaflets.
Yes. No. They gave him a call. Hey, listen, by the way, we're going to bomb these areas. We need you to get the fuck out of there.
Well, again,
Because
which kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah. Imagine a surprise bombing with only 5 Houthis that died and 6 are injured
well, that tells
at
me.
military bases.
That tells me that's basically, the U.S. just shooting, blanks and just trying to make a point where there's nothing they can do here. Like really, at the end of the day, if you wanted to stop the shipping, you would have been able to stop the shipping in a different way, or stop the ships that are stopping the shipping. But this is much more of a statement attack, which just needlessly and cruelessly,
I think Iran has proved. I disagree with you 100% on that one because Iran has proved over the last couple of years that it can disturb shipping through the what's the name?
Hormuz.
The Strait
Yeah,
of
but
Hormuz.
we're talking about
Yes.
Bab el-Mandeb here, which
Yeah,
is a
but
different,
which is even different
narrower
conversation.
Yeah, which is narrower. But again, it's a different conversation here because it's. I understand that international shipping is very much located in these strategic choke points, and there is international interest in keeping shipping going on. But at the same time, let's take this back a second. Why is this all happening? Because of the nonstop war that's happening in Gaza. That's where.
Oh, hey,
takes
sir,
all
sir,
back,
this is the United States of America. Don't bring common sense into this shit.
What are you talking about?
Don't tell me they
here?
have to stop something for this to stop. No. These are different incidents.
Okay, so democracy.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
The hypocrisy and democracy.
I choose to separate things that are interconnected in the same region.
Exactly.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah.
But again, here's the thing. If we're talking about the Houthis, we have to be very transparent here. They don't really care about Gaza. They're just doing their
Yeah, bro. They're just another fucking militia.
yeah, they're taking orders. I'm like, oh, international waters? Okay, we do this one, bomb this one. Yeah, khalas. Okay, yes, sir. Yeah, okay, yes, sir.
Like Iran gave them the game plan. Look, I find it very interesting how Iran ran its fucking mouth. Like, I don't find it interesting, to be honest with you. Like, we all know they were a bunch of
Nothing new.
cowards, yani. But Israel bombing the center of Lebanon, and
Well-
Hezbollah's not doing jack
Well, again, we go
shit.
back to, oh, hey, you are terrorists. We are going to bomb everybody around us, and that just leads to, like, and that's the thing. And we keep seeing the region coming back into these cycles of violence where you see different cities across the region just getting hurt.
Yeah, the word of the day is called brinksmanship. Brinksmanship.
Define brinkmanship.
Basically,
Chicken, playing chicken.
and basically yes, in the lexicon of international relations and
Man said lexicon.
yes, the idea that escalation in and of itself is a form of de-escalation. Like, okay, I will one up you, and we will reach a point where you say, okay, khalas, I'm gonna back down, and if I'm gonna back down, you're gonna back down. The problem here is that, as you can see with one-upsmanship, the one-upsmanship might become two-upsmanship, and the one-upsmanship,
And the two.
three-upsmanship, and the whoopsie upsmanship.
Yeah.
The problem is the whoopsie.
By the time we agree, there's gonna be nothing to agree on.
Yes, the problem is the whoopsie.
Which seems to be
Closer and closer to happening.
Yeah, exactly where we're.
I don't think it's gonna happen because this whole problem, everybody knows that you point the finger back to Iran. You know it. Everybody knows it. So it's going to depend on Iran. Are the militias going to still say, you know what, we'll get killed, we'll get bombed, we get attacked, and we still can't fight back because he's telling us not to fight back? I was going to be like, yeah, okay, you know what? You guys have been really not doing jack shit to protect nobody, so fuck off. So I think this is what they're trying to go at. They're trying to hit them enough. No, I'm talking about everybody. Hit them enough until Iran says, okay, you know what? I can't do shit.
Well, that's the thing with Iran in this situation. Iran, the positive here for them is that, hey, they're using these militias, so it's not that they're getting directly hurt or
Exactly,
hit. You know,
yeah.
so exactly. So
It's not
at the
their
end-
lives.
Exactly. So at the end of the day,
Exactly.
There is
so it's a win-win for them.
Yeah.
You know,
there
They can
is-
do this forever.
there's a couple of potential scenarios where this can go loose. One is that Iran caves in and says, you know what, hit them back, which is not very likely, almost impossible, I'd say. The other scenario would be that these local militias say, yo, Iran, you ain't doing jack shit, so I'm going to go into business to myself. Us. I have to, quote unquote, protect my own people. I am trading on the legitimacy of my own cause, my own forces in the local population by seemingly protecting their interests and fighting the quote unquote the good fight against Israel. If I'm doing that jack shit and getting hit for it, at some point I might have to make the decision, you know what? Khas, I'm gonna go to business for myself.
and this is where the Iranians do what they do best, which is play you on that side of the rope and then pull you back in.
The joke,
basically.
They pay you, bro. You
Yeah,
pay
we're
you
gonna
every
pay-
single month. You get payment as a soldier. So you automatically, I'm getting a salary. I'm living in Sana'a and I don't make no money and I got like 6 kids.
Mm.
I need to get a job. Oh, fine. I'll go join fucking Houthi and just to collect my 300 riyal check
yeah,
every single month.
Hezbollah, it's an unemployment program more than anything. If we're gonna be very honest here.
That's actually true.
So the idea here is that Iran will fight Israel to the last Arab.
Yep. Once it gets to his borders, like, you know what, we're fine.
We're good. We're Gucci.
Yeah, we have nothing.
The
else to add
third
to this.
scenario, which is sadly becoming more and more likely, is that Israel is trying to provoke a response that's severe enough to drag the US in.
And that's where bombing Lebanon comes in.
Yeah, that's where, okay, we hit you in Lebanon. يلا ها. والله لو اني مكانك ما اسكت يا حزب الله.
Because, again, that's been part of the Israel.
حزب الله, your
playbook
mama's
for-
so fat. That
He
type of
knows.
shit.
No, he knows.
Again, it's been the Israel playbook for what, a good 40 years now. Okay, we have more problems that are coming out of. Well, okay, just bomb the other country around you, whether it's Syria, whether it's Iran, whether it's Lebanon, whether it's.
See, back then, it was easier to do that game because there was a lot of conflict in those areas. But as those conflicts go away, it becomes, I have no reason to bomb Syria anymore.
They're still doing it though, right?
Because there's still conflicts in Syria.
Yeah.
Still conflicts in Iraq.
Lebanon, because
we
of
had
his
that,
vibes.
We had that conversation.
Lebanon because
I think
Lebanon.
last year or the year before. I think we talked about this on the podcast. When we were talking about, listen, if we grow as a nation and everywhere around us grows and look at the big picture,
The
what's good for them,
security of
the security of the region gets better. And then a lot of people have no reason to cause harm because there's things are happening that people want to be a part of and have a better life.
But when things are on fire everywhere in the region, basically, you're going to end up having to keep putting out fires, basically. And that's the thing. The thing is, the fires keep piling up. That's the detriment of having one fire lit. You know,
we tried. We warned them. We told them the problem with having the Houthis around. No one wanted to listen. And now, like, oh, okay, you guys are right. Okay, no shit. And the beautiful thing about it, Saudi and Emirates, like, yo, we're not involved.
Yeah, we're Gucci.
Yeah, even Egypt, like, yo, oh, whatever you guys want to do in Yemen, you go ahead and do it. Our problem is Gaza right now. So if you guys have a problem over there, that's your shipping routes, that's your problems. It's not an us problem.
Mm.
I love the fact that we always stand by ourselves in our own way.
At the end of the day, there are big concerns for us now in the region, honestly, and this is something that
the region is literally on fucking fire.
Yeah, exactly. You know, this is just something else that, unfortunately, the people of the region have to.
Yeah, you're talking about regional war. Guess what? It's here.
Yeah, like we are. Look around you. Everywhere there's a fire, and how far are you going to push it back, and how far are you willing to go to push it back? That's the question right now.
Yeah.
It is not
an easy question.
Not an easy question, bro.
You know,
not an easy time to be in the region.
You could have stopped at 5,000 dead children, but you know what? خلاص أعطيهم وجه شوي. This is where things went loose.
Exactly. When you allow them to do whatever the fuck they want to do.
Well, they've always been allowed. That's the thing. And
again, it depends on which administration you are. Like, for example, if you look at like the Reagan administration, like they told them, yo, you bomb Lebanon again, it's going to be a problem. And they stopped. So there has been precedent of being tough on them.
Yeah, but keep in mind that happened after the Americans lost a good couple of hundred Marines, you know.
I'm not sure what's the exact timeline, but there was a specific incident where Ronald Reagan said, yo, you will not do shit. Stop.
And now we have an entire Western world that is, you know, proclaiming freedom and human rights. No. Humanitarian interventions.
You do not understand. That word? You do not understand the sole support for Israel in the United States is basically the evangelical right.
That's it.
No, but you're talking about
and those people vote.
Not just that. Look at the rest of Europe. The rest of Europe is standing.
The rest of Europe is following the US's lead.
Exactly, and the fact that they have that.
Not really. Spain said, "No, I'm not joining this bombing."
There's a new Spanish government, left-wing Spanish government. So that's one. The rest of Europe, they're all standing.
France said, "I'm not involved in this coalition."
Yeah, because there's a point where you support morally, legally, and how can I say this? What's verbally. But at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, I got my own shit I had to worry about.
Again, we saw it during COVID. When push comes to shove, everyone cared about themselves and nobody else.
No, but saying yes, true, very true. That is actually very true. But the what's the word I'm looking for here?
Tis.
And winter is coming, so we're gonna see how those
the lack of moral fortitude. That's the word I'm looking for. The lack of moral fortitude that I'm seeing now amongst supposed international leaders is not surprising. Not quite disappointing as always. When you look at international politics. But
and winter is coming, so we're gonna see how much your support for Ukraine lasts when Putin has you by the balls on the gas prices.
Well, watching it right now, the UK just signed a 10-year deal to protect Ukraine. They give them like $2.9 billion in funding or some shit. I don't read the whole article, to be honest, so I think that's what it was about.
Weapons, military industry complex. Let's keep pushing those. Yes, exactly.
Jobs. Lockheed Martin.
Yep.
Jobs.
That's the US, by the way.
Yeah.
كله تبع بعضه.
They're all murders.
On lighter news, there's been a lot of movies that came out lately. I haven't seen any of them, to be honest, except Hamur. I saw Hamur.
Hamur didn't come out recently.
Yeah, it came out a long time ago. But that's out again. recently.
we're doing a Saudi movie roundup.
Yeah, so Mandoob came out, Naga came out. What else?
Hojin.
Hojin came
Hojin.
out.
Or Hojin, actually. Yes.
Whatever his name is. Those are the main three that came out close to each other, also, right? Like months apart.
Yes, we honestly, and there's still more. I think coming. I saw a trailer for a new movie that's going to come out.
Yeah, high level input. It's great that Saudi movies are coming out. They're being well produced. But
Before you go to but, keep going with the high
Keep
level.
going
input.
with the high level inputs.
yeah, the high level input, like it's amazing they're coming out. It's nice that we're seeing local Saudi talent, actors, actresses, etc.
Diversity and offering.
Diversity, like interesting directions. But
Before we
That
go
was
to
a very
but,
quick but.
before we go but, it's great also to see that there's a new caliber of people that come out that you feel like they can be great in the future.
yes, the potential is there.
The storytelling got much better.
Yes.
The writing got better.
No, honestly, and it's not just the
But-
storytelling
but-
and the writing, but there's more to it. It's acknowledging the fact that a lot of these guys have made the step up from producing short films or features on YouTube that were 10, 15 minutes to producing box office, hits that are, really taking over the market.
But
Good. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get to the but.
my guys,
Can we take it one by one?
because
let-
the
let-
general comment applies to all of them. It's
Okay.
like, which is
Let me hold on. Let's take it one by one. Okay. First off, I didn't see any of these, so I'm going to tell you what I heard.
Mhm.
So first was Naga. Let's
Mhm.
start with Naga.
I saw
Everyone,
Naga.
the only positive comment that I got that it's a Mishal movie.
That's the only positive
That's
comment.
the only positive comment that I got. Actually, I got two. That the girl who was acting has potential.
Okay,
Mhm.
although I believe her name is.
Yeah, I think those are the only two positive things that I got. Now, thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. Both of you, did you see it?
I enjoyed Naga.
Okay.
I
You saw it also?
Yeah, but
Good.
you enjoy everything, Kenny. So you're not.
No, I
you're
enjoy-
not a good barometer, my guy.
Again, I go back.
You're
to-
too nice.
I go back to the original point that I look at this as a lens of this is a first time director doing a first time feature.
Oh my god.
No,
That's not relevant. Like,
Nonetheless-
it's a feature. Khalas, you judge it as a
Bro.
feature.
Nonetheless, for me,
This isn't. Oh, it's good for YouTube. No, this is khalas. It's a movie. I will judge it
All
as a
you
movie.
just said right now,
okay.
it's a Mishal movie.
It's a shuf. It is.
That's all you said.
It is a very mishal. When you say it's a mishal movie, there's different ways of looking at that, right?
Because you're judging Mishal based on what he used to do for short clips
Exactly.
on YouTube.
So Mishal has his own style of looking at the world through his own lens. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
Whether it's through his cinematography, whether it's through his absurdity in terms of humor, whether it's through his general surreal, weird landscape that he tries to build. The movie had all of that. That had all three spades. For me, the
But you're
negative,
saying it as if it was all good.
and then I'm going like for me, the negative part, I believe, came from, the movie I believe had good flow, okay, but I believe that there was a little bit too much focus on cinematic flourish, trying to showcase different cinematic techniques in different ways in different sequences of the movie,
Camera movement.
camera movements and so on and so forth. For me, that was
But that's Mishal.
that's Mishal again. Yeah, that's for me the thing that kind of jumped out at me that the movie needed to breathe a little bit and just be itself, And sometimes it felt that it wasn't allowed to be that.
Are you done with the kumbaya?
Yeah,
No. Honestly, no. Honestly,
He
Are you done?
wants to be friends with everybody.
honestly,
bro.
I
Look
did
at this
enjoy the
guy.
movie though. I did enjoy the
Are
movie.
you done with the kumbaya? Oh, this is amazing. Mashallah alaikum. Wow.
Yes, wow, new guy.
Here's the thing. I saw the movie. The movie did not have enough meat on it to be a feature length. And it was like almost 2 hours or more.
I'm not sure.
It was long and it felt long.
Okay.
Here's the thing. The movie did not have a story that justified its length. The cinematography, the directing was at some.
I do agree it could have been shorter. I do agree with that point.
Can I finish my full point, please?
Go on.
The cinematography, the directing was at some point so insufferable, so irritating
Mm.
that I got a headache. And it was not intended to be a headache. Like, it was obvious that this is okay. I can't have a normal scene. I can't have a shot, reverse shot. I can't have a static camera. So, khas, select all. افتح After Effects, select all.
Okay, I do understand where you say that there's a couple of points in the movie where they had that.
No,
I
because
do agree with that
there,
point as well.
there are a couple of scenes.
A couple of scenes.
There are a couple of scenes.
You can't say everything that you said, then come back here and try to backtrack and say, I agree.
But he's looking at it in terms of a bigger negative. I'm looking at it in terms of, yes, these were, I would say criticisms I have of the movie, but they didn't ruin my experience of the movie. That's the difference.
Again, I'm trying to fill the whole critique here. Like I've taken notes. So
Okay.
He's been
So-
ready.
yes. So the movie had a couple of scenes that were nice, that were eccentric in a way that, this is interesting. Like there was a scene where the star was in a khema and it was reverse shot, but both subjects of the camera were very, very far away and they couldn't hear each other. So that was a nice sequence.
It was a good scene, yes.
It was a nice sequence. Yes, it had that Wes Anderson flair. But there were so many scenes in the movie that were superfluous, that didn't go anywhere. Like the first scene in the movie, it was basically there was
Don't spoil the movie.
no, I have to, because again,
The movie already
the
came out,
movie is
bro.
out. It's on Netflix. Again, spoiler warning. The first scene in the movie is a POV shot of the star's grandfather roaming the halls of a hospital. حلو. The cinematography is from the POV, but for some reason it would flip for 360 degrees for no absolute reason. Like it was upside down for like minutes at a time, no particular reason. And
I'm getting my popcorn for this, by the way.
yes, the scene ended where the grandfather entered a operating room where his wife was giving birth to the star's father. And he was upset إن ليش رجال يولد زوجتي. That was the scene. He shot the doctor and he died. That scene had no impact or importance to the movie at all. It was not called back for. It had no impact on the story, on the character. It was just referenced because, the father has a hearing problem because he heard the gunshots when he was a baby. ما في أي فايدة في الفيلم. As a writer, as a director, everything you put in a movie has to serve a purpose, either thematically, emotionally, or structurally. As a script, that scene was a waste of time. Shots were made, people were paid, extras were scouted, it was edited. What service did it serve in the movie? Nothing.
Establishing the father's background. in a sense.
The father showed up in like 3 scenes in the movie, and he was a very nice father.
But nonetheless, he was a big driver for the entire movie, in terms of, I need to get back for a reason. There was
he was
overarching kind of fear hanging over her for the
This
whole
is called the
movie.
inciting incident. You didn't need that scene to set that up. The inciting incident, أنا بروح to the desert and I have to come back before my father catches me. You do not have to establish that, my father is an asshole. The father was a nice guy. That scene served no purpose. I was so pissed off waiting for the payoff for that scene that did not come. The father had a hearing problem. Is he an asshole? Is it something that he was traumatized for? Is it something that's affecting his character? We do not even know his name.
I saw it more of a kind of a shock introduction to the narrative that he wanted to tell you. Like, there's gonna be weird shit happening here. And that's how I saw it. I was like, this is weird. It's a weird start to it.
It was shocking.
It was shocking as hell. I'm like, and I did have
But
the same
it served
feeling.
no purpose.
Yeah, I did have the same feeling. What's the point of this? Like,
No point.
honestly, at some point, when I started getting half into the movie seemed to me like a very sometimes well connected, sometimes disconnected sequence of just absurd situations, and that was one.
Again, Wes Anderson-esque. This movie would have been a great 45-minute short, not an almost 2-hour long movie.
But it did have a lot of Michelle's, let's say, spirit into it.
Oh, like that intro?
That intro, yeah, for better. No,
That's
and but that scene that he mentioned, that scene where there's that discussion going on back and forth, that was for me one of the highlights of the movie. And the fact that he was able to get that reaction out of me, the laugh, that okay, what the fuck is actually going on here?
Would you sit through it again?
No, not at all.
Aywa, I know your answer.
لا شوف
Oh, play around with me, bro. Play around. Please play around with me. Be nice. Come on, let's do it.
I wouldn't call it a.
Just say no.
I wouldn't call it a bad movie. Honestly, I wouldn't
I
call
didn't say it was a bad movie.
Yeah.
I said, would you sit through it again?
I would call it a bad movie.
Thank you for your honesty.
I'd probably half watch it again. Yeah.
Bro. Okay.
If somebody else is watching
since we're
it,
lying,
no. If
okay,
somebody
I
else
think
is,
it's a great movie.
no. If somebody else is watching
Since
it,
we're gonna lie.
no. If somebody else is gonna ask me for a movie to watch and they haven't seen it, I'll say, yo, check it out.
It's worth
And
checking
you'll walk
out.
Yeah,
out of it.
exactly.
It's worth checking out.
No, it's on Netflix though. That's
But-
the thing. It's on Netflix. It's yo. I'm home. I want to watch something.
Again, it's worth checking out as an interesting artifact. And this is interesting, but I would not recommend it as hey,
A highlight movie.
This is a good movie. You should watch it.
I would say check it out.
I would say check it out, but that's not an endorsement of a good movie. It's an endorsement of an interesting movie, which is it. It is.
Which it is. Exactly.
It is an interesting movie. Not a good movie, but an interesting one.
But let's go to Mandoob. What did you think of Mandoob?
Mandoob it was
Let me give you my points, since I didn't see it either. Because everyone kept calling me out, telling me things. By the way, I love spoilers. Like, you can spoil a whole movie for me. I still watch it.
yes,
So
I
it's
intend
good.
to spoil everything.
Yeah, I have no problem. So you spoil all the way. Everyone told me that it didn't need to be that long.
That's
The pace could have been picked up early on.
I would challenge.
Wait. Go on.
The pace should have been picked up early on. This I heard from multiple people.
Okay.
A lot of people loved where it's going. Some people told me that we left thinking it could have been better.
Okay.
You know, it's good, but it could have been better.
Okay.
But again, that's everyone's personal taste
Yes.
and whatever they see things.
I agree with the first point. It felt too
the
long.
pacing?
It felt too long. There are points in the movie that I felt like, yo, okay, this is long. You know, and just because and the pacing is maybe a good way of putting it. You know, and it is a very slow burn. You know, and it really takes its time to get going. but at the same time, I appreciated how he built up the universe. I appreciated how he slowly, put things into place and put the pieces together, and then ended up taking it all down.
You see what you just said? This is called the tyranny of low expectations.
Yes, that sounds
It's
terrible.
like, they're competent, so that means they're amazing. Listeners, there's this thing called the 3-act structure. Maybe you've heard about it.
لا شوف, I'm walking into the movie actually not really knowing what it's about.
Shamsi, you are being too nice to people.
Okay, لا,
because you have relations with people.
لا, but I'm walking.
I am listener number one. Nobody knows me.
Exactly.
I'm walking into the movie not really knowing what it's about.
Yes,
and
I walked
not
in
having any expectations either.
He did the same as you.
Yes, I walked in blind, and I will go for the record, and I would consider Mandoob Lail a good movie.
Okay.
Again, but I will now begin to criticize it.
Okay.
Yes.
So because good things are good doesn't mean that they can't be criticized. Mr.
Yes.
Nice Person?
Okay, criticize.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Yes.
But
I've already
again-
started with my criticism, by the way.
on
But
the
sure.
regular, everyone said it was a good movie.
Yeah, it was a good movie. There's this thing called, listeners, the 3-act structure. It is basically a template to making a compelling movie.
I love how he's teaching everybody
Yeah.
cinematography.
No,
you know?
he's telling you why he's criticizing you.
Okay.
This is why I respect it.
Yeah. So the 3-act structure, you have Act 1, which is introduction and inciting incident and rising action. Basically, this is what we're going to do. This is what sets things into motion.
And these are the people who are going to do it.
These are the people who are going to do it. Act 2 is where escalation happens. Then you have the big dramatic turning point.
The climax.
No,
No.
that's the climax of Act 2. And things are bad.
Turning point.
The turning point. We have to resolve the story. And then you have Act 3, which finishes the climax and the resolution, usually called a denouement. And خلاص, everything's done. Let's check up on the characters one last time. Roll credits. حياة حلوة.
What's it called?
Denouement.
Thank you for that.
Mandoob Lail had Act 1. Act 2, Act 3.
Okay, so everybody was right.
Yeah.
The first act should have been shorter. Could have been shorter.
Like, you do not have to establish that the father is sick for 5 or 6 different scenes. And خلاص, we got it. شفناه في السرير تعبان في كحة. خلاص, we get it. He's sick. You don't have to cut back to, okay, let's reestablish that he's sick and the star is down on his luck. No, we get it. Like, he works in a call center. سيارته مدردعة. We get it that he's not the most financially feasible person. There are interesting scenes to showcase the character. The character work is very good, honestly. Like as a character study, it's really good.
The acting as well was very good from.
The acting didn't. Yeah. He embodied the character of هذا واحد صحيح, which is very good.
Respect to Duhi.
Yeah,
No, he did a really good job there.
Respect to Duhi on that one.
There were interesting scenes. Like there was some scenes that, if I was the editor, I'd say, okay, fine, you can have this thing here, but maybe you're just shortening it up a little bit. Like his whole thing with his colleague that she's being friendly, but he thinks there's something more. That didn't have to be stretched out over so much time in the movie. That felt like that was a good 20 minutes of screen time that ultimately didn't serve the purpose of the movie a lot. Like you could have it in one scene, two scenes as something that further drives his character. But the problem that I felt that it took a long time to get to the main crux of the plot, which is that, he found the illegal alcohol making den and he started selling it off, and the plot of the movie is that he had to do bad things to get by. Fine. And those bad things catch up to him. Hello. Why did they catch up to him when there was 15 minutes left of the movie? And why did he do the bad thing an hour into the movie? Again, this is, you remember when I said in the beginning, the but, the high level but is that, my guys, you can shoot a movie that's beautiful. You can make performances that are amazing. But if you don't have a solid script that's tight, you're not there.
But see, we have a different reading of the movie then. And for me, that wasn't the reading of the movie. It wasn't that if you do bad things catch up to you. So
that wasn't my point. The point is that
he's talking about Act 2 and Act 3. Something bad and it caught up to him real quick.
Yeah, the plot,
it didn't play out longer.
Yeah, the plot felt lopsided.
I'm gonna agree with a couple of points that you said. It was very. It could have been much shorter in terms of having scenes that are cut out that were establishing certain things.
I have no idea, and I have no problem with long movies. I have a problem with poorly structured movies.
No, and for me, the fact that it felt long in certain scenes told me that there were some scenes that didn't need to be there. I had that feeling without really, analyzing it the way that you did. I appreciated the cinematography a lot of the movie. I appreciated that the movie,
it's well shot.
It felt like it had a character in terms of the coloring and the setting of the city and all of that. The way I read the movie was that that's the thing. It just kept going down for the guy. From the beginning of the movie, he had one bad incident after another. He had a lucky break, and just everything just kept going worse and worse and worse. There was no redeeming factor in the movie whatsoever for the guy, and the moment I realized that was when the movie finished. As that final scene happened, he got on a bus, and then there was an ending act that had a follow-up to it, and you just saw that this was just a guy he just has bad luck, right? This just guy, it's not about one bad day, it's about a guy that has a bad life.
Yeah,
and that just kind of made me feel some kind of way this is a dark movie. This is not
you're talking about the story. He's talking about the structure of the story.
Yeah,
he doesn't have a problem with the story. He has a problem with the structure.
And for me, if you ask me, would I watch it again? Probably not. But
I would.
I probably wouldn't, because again, I felt like it could have been more dynamic. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for.
As a person, I like slow burns as films. I had no issue with the movie up until the credits rolls. I'm like, yo, look,
it wrapped up too quick.
Where's the rest of the movie?
Well, see, that's the difference. But for me, when that final scene happened, the whole movie made sense to me. That final scene really put the final piece on the puzzle. Like, okay, this is what I'm going through.
All you guys are telling me is that you got dragged along into a quick resolution, and the dragging along
wasn't quick, Abdul.
Let me finish. And the dragging along is what made the ending of it say, "Oh, okay, finished."
And for me, I was confused for large parts of the movie because I was trying to figure out where it was going. You know, like, okay, you're going somewhere. I still don't know.
Really, you were confused?
For large parts.
The movie was
Straightforward.
relatively straightforward.
Again, but as you mentioned.
No, he's trying to think what's going to happen
yeah,
next.
as you mentioned, it felt like...
Remember when we watched something, Shamsi has to cut off everything that anyone's saying on TV because he knows what they're going to say. It's the same thing. He's watching it, trying to figure out what's going to happen before it happens.
No,
So he can say,
he's looking at... Well, that's the thing. He's looking at it in terms of a traditional structure of A, B, C, good thing, bad thing, resolution, hey, everybody's happy. But the movie wasn't that. It wasn't structured that way. And for me, the movie was...
It was structured that way. The problem is
that's exactly the same.
No, but usually there's a journey where you go down and then you go up and then you go down again.
Okay.
For me, the movie was just going down. You know, it didn't have that traditional structure where you feel, oh, okay, this might really
that sounds
work.
very depressing.
Shamsi. The idea of the structure isn't about a roller coaster up and down. Good things happen, bad things happen. It's you set up something and you progress and you resolve and you progress and you resolve. So it's not about like, oh, it's not a traditional structure. It was a traditional structure. The issue is that
one part of it was longer than the other.
Yeah, it was lopsided.
Mm.
It was lopsided.
That part I agree with. I felt like that first part could have been better edited, maybe shorter.
Honestly, if this was a 8-episode miniseries, like let's say,
could have been 6.
It could have been 6.
Exactly.
What was that? About the robber, Shisma?
The robber.
Which one?
Rashash.
Oh, Rashash.
Yeah, if it was like Rashash,
drug dealer.
Yeah, it structured like that, an episodic miniseries, it would have been great because you would have time to breathe. But if you have a movie, you have to wrap things up quickly. Set up, payoff.
Mm. Can I give you a different question?
Mm.
Well, thank you for both of your input. You guys are amazing. I appreciate having you as friends. Anyway, so 2 questions.
Sure.
1, do you think that they're trying to dumb down the movie? That's why it's taking longer, so everyone can understand where the pace of the movie is going.
Dumb down?
Yes. What I mean by dumb down is that make it very, very, very simple, not very complex.
No,
I think it's the other way around.
I'm talking about on all the movies right now.
In general,
about
Yeah, I'm talking
these
about
two
general 2011.
I would say in general, the issue isn't that they're dumbing it down, is that the issue is that they realize that they're a little bit too ambitious with what we want to do. And then they realize, oh, I have to close this movie. Okay, let's wrap it up.
Good. Now, here's my second question.
Okay.
Trust me, we're going this route, me and you.
Mm.
Since they're not dumbing it down, do you feel like they're challenging the consumer?
Yes. And okay. There's intricacies here. So, how many movies are originating? 3 Tirvaz movies right now. Sattar, Mandoob, and Naga. 3 very different movies. Okay. For me, Sattar did something that I didn't expect, was that it spoke to a lot of people. You know, it spoke to a generation that grew up with wrestling. It spoke to older people. It spoke to moms, you know, and that's what made it such a successful movie at the end of the day. I'm not sure if Naga and Mandoob will be able to speak to as much a wide segment of a society because they tackle very different subjects in very different ways. Yani, what is Naga about? It's about a girl breaking or going... digressing, exactly. She's digressing against traditions, against society, and doing it in different ways. It's one bad trip. This is what it was. And it gets resolved in its own way, but that's basically what the movie is. Mandoob is much more of a societal study, a character study of, you know, an individual and his place within society and how he interacts with that society around him. So they're both smart movies in their own way, you know?
I would challenge you on this. The idea is that these movies are challenging. They are, but they're challenging insofar that they are discussing subject matter that is unpalatable to a lot of the audience. Like, oh, we don't like to talk about this stuff. But
or
so that's challenging.
Or we don't watch things like this.
Yeah, but
there's nothing. This is there's nothing that says these stories.
This is bringing me to my point here: is that a lot of people are saying, you know what, خلاص, yeah, أعطيناكم واجب سالفة تحدي المجتمع. But these aren't relevant stories for the vast majority of people. These aren't stories that speak to us on any realistic level. Like, these are very كيف أقول لك, these are
Specific situations.
let's be very honest. The artistic community in general, they tend to skew as very privileged, very upper echelon people. They don't really have an idea what the common Joe lives with in his day-to-day life, and they can't relate.
But that goes for every artistic community.
But here's the thing. Good artistic communities, or more fleshed out artistic communities, make an effort to understand and depict that echelon of
The
society.
diversity.
Yes.
Which takes time.
Ibrahim Khairallah was slick enough to make a movie that any person in this country
Could enjoy.
understands automatically.
And that's
Yes.
the first point I made. That's
yes, I know. What he did was speak to the audience.
Two different segments.
Yes,
Yeah.
but they all have one language when it comes to comedy. Comedy is very easy if you execute it properly.
Yes.
And he found a way that will bring all different people into the same exact place.
Yes, fine,
where
it's
they're all
fine.
going to enjoy it.
But
Because
it was
he
a
spoke-
recipe.
Because he spoke to the local audience. He knew what they wanted. And he figured out a way to give them exactly what they wanted and to deliver in a way that they also wanted it. It was fast-paced. It was quick. The bat was quick. Everything was quick in that
It had
movie.
great actors.
Great people.
Yeah, great.
It was the whole thing as a package. It was amazing. The Kabsa Boys were there. That's what's amazing. But it's just the other two movies. It was more of, we know what you guys want. We want to push the envelope a little bit up and see where we can go cinematically as a society. Will we be able to have these conversations
Exactly.
with these situations that are happening? So I think the biggest problem that we also face as a society, away from the guys and how hard they're working trying to make something out of nothing, is we need to accept that going to the movie is not just about action, haha. That I need thought provoking.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's one of the powers of cinema. You know.
So
originally.
everybody that told me their opinion of Naga and Mandoob, all I heard was just complaining that it's not the norm. And it's not supposed to be the norm. Someone has to take on that challenge of saying, I'm going to do something different. And it might hit, it might not hit. But let's try to move this forward, because if the first one hit 30%, I know how to make it into 50% the second time, into 80% the third time, into 100% the fifth time.
But keep in mind, and come on, when you look at it in terms of Inta as a consumer right now, when you watch movies, what movies do you watch? Let's say generally, most people, they have genres specifically that they like. I like rom-coms, I like comedies, I like sci-fi stuff. So you don't really go out of your way to watch movies that, I'm not going to watch a drama about a lawyer in the 1970s. Why the fuck would I watch that?
But all of you went to see the number one box office movie, no matter what it was.
But right now, in terms of these movies, no, I'm actually interested to go watch Mandoob because there's nothing else like it. Because it's a Saudi movie, and hey, there's a lack of Saudi movies in the market. So even if the genre is something I'm not interested in, hey, let me go check it out.
It's interesting.
Interesting is the key word. Because to your point, when you're talking about, is it relatable? That is, we never made relatable movies.
We never made movies.
Yeah, no. Even the movies that were made, even the shows that we have, it was never meant to be relatable. It was always meant to show you a world that you do not live in,
Yes.
right?
Escapism, they call it.
Exactly. So we are still in that phase of accepting that.
The relatability,
Yes.
or understanding it.
Not even understanding it, understanding that I can sit here and watch someone break down someone's life in a way that is very realistic, that it could happen around me.
Question to you, number one. Do you believe that Mandoob is relatable as a movie to a sizable portion of society?
Again, when we define relatable, there is a difference between relatable as this speaks to quote unquote the common man, or it is relatable in this is a situation that I am aware of.
Yeah, I'm talking about something that speaks to the common man in terms of,
I
hey,
would say-
I know somebody like this.
Again, I know somebody like this. There's
that's-
difference between I know somebody like this who does something like this. That's not something that's common. We know people that are less fortunate or down on their luck, and this isn't a situation they find themselves in.
True. But
So it is relatable, or
and that's the escapism part of it.
Yeah, no, not even that.
Not
Like,
even that.
not even that. Like, there are people. It's not an unrealistic scenario.
Mhm.
It's not a common scenario. It's not a desirable scenario. It is a scenario that happens. But is it relatable to vast swaths of society? No. To a certain subsection, maybe. But when you talk about relatable, you have to speak about something that all people can understand on an empathetic and human level.
But that's also difficult to do in terms of one movie that speaks to everyone.
I would use a good example of this. Say it however you want to say it, but there's a Iranian movie called Separation. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but I've seen it. It's a great movie. The crux of the movie is that you have one couple that's in the upper echelon of society. They are educated, but they're going through marital problems. They get into a legal dispute with another couple that is lower on the totem pole, more religious, more conservative. So you have that dynamic, that contrast, that dynamic of class struggle. And it is just a scenario that you can imagine in any single point on the globe at any point in time. It is just basically ناس فيهم مشاكل في محكمة, and the performance and the scenario and the way it's shot, the way it's produced, the way it's acted, paced, it just you chew on the movie.
I salute your choice in cinema, sir.
Yeah, but I can imagine something like that here. Like you can imagine a movie about, let's say, again, I'm going to speak out loud here. Kaddad. Everybody knows what a Kaddad is.
What is a Kaddad?
Kaddad.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, again, for the sake of the audience, Kaddad listeners is basically a person who makes his living. You know, it was Uber before Uber.
Yes, I was about to say.
It's the guy that used to drive you from Riyadh to Sharqi.
Essentially.
He carpools.
Yes. That's a job that a lot of people relied on, and it's a job that I can imagine it's ripe for thematic exploration, be it on their personal level, how they need to make ends meet, again, it's something that speaks to society in that sense, and something you can understand as intrinsic to the human experience.
And you don't think that movie's coming out? Not necessarily movie, but speaking about...
Anytime they do something like that, they burn it with what? They burn it with one person is more of an asshole than the other one, and they add unrealistic scenarios into the movie.
Yeah, I'm tired of being... I wouldn't say I'm tired, but not every movie has to be quote-unquote salacious or scandalizing.
Salacious.
Yeah, that's the term. Salacious is a term. It's basically, this is lurid, this is something that...
Shock value.
Shock value is too strong of a term, but there seemed to be almost an enjoyment of, we're pushing the boundary. Okay, fine, push the boundary, but tell a good story. You can also tell a good story without pushing the boundary. You know, that's the common theme here is tell a good story.
Sure, I think we're still very early in our
We're not.
In our cinema experiment overall
No,
as a society.
You don't have to have a good progressed cinema industry to write a good script.
Exactly.
A good script, you need a laptop and Word.
We have people that
you need experience.
Look,
you need experience, and you need to learn. And need to make mistakes, and you need movies to fail.
Yes,
and you need to learn what audiences like, because right now all of this is a process.
You're talking about the commercial aspect of
what we learned. What we learned from all these movies is that we have good camera operators, we have good people that can color grade, that can edit,
technical skills.
So the technical skills are there. So now you have no fucking choice but to have a good script.
The creativity is something that...
Not even the creativity. People are creative.
Yes, when we're looking at Tafaz 11, the way I judge Tafaz 11 is not on what they already know how to do. You already ticked the box and everything. So now I'm looking at your storytelling, because that's the only box that's left. You already know how to use fucking cameras. You already know how to fucking color grade. You know what an audience looks like. You know how an audience enters a fucking cinema. You know what they're going to need, what they're going to want. You know how to market. You already have all those things down. Maybe not perfect to 100%.
That's
again,
I would disagree
but
with
still, the writing. That's what's going to make me come back and spend more money on you. They've been doing great so far. Naga was the one that everyone told me was a kind of a shift to the side, but when you look at they're offering more than anybody else around. They're doing better than anybody else around. So of course we're going to look and nitpick on the storytelling, because that's the only thing left for us.
And not just that, and because I think also looking at Tilfaz, we have such high expectations. of Tilfaz because we've enjoyed so much of the things that they've done over the years that we think, hey, you guys know how to do this. You guys know how to make us laugh. You know, you guys know how to speak our language because you've done it for so long.
And what's the problem with having high expectations?
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. I'm looking at it in terms of what both of you are saying in terms of storytelling. Who else can do this? Right?
And this is why.
Who else can come out and tell these stories?
And this is why we look at Tilfaz 11 and we point a finger.
Flag bearer as a flag bearer.
Yeah, you're the one who's going to take us up. And you have no other choice. The weight on the boys' shoulders is ridiculous. Let's all be realistic about it. We are expecting nothing but the best from them. And
looking forward to nothing but the best.
Exactly.
Obviously.
But at the same time, like we know there's going to be ups and downs. We know everything is not 100%.
That's what I'm saying.
Everything is not perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the writing has always been the problem in Saudi.
I think that goes back a long time.
Yeah,
though,
exactly.
Right?
Yes, yes.
It's not just a new problem.
Exactly.
Like even it's when you look back at
So
TV
since
shows.
you're
over
the
past 10
guy
years.
who's going to change how production is, how color grading looks like, what's our style, what's our theme, you're the guy that also needs to make the scripts.
I would say that Mandoob did that. Mandoob did give us something different. It was a different story compared to what we were used to or what we were expecting. At least for me, honestly. Like I didn't expect to go that way.
No,
Naga was also different.
yeah,
Naga had a twist on a kind of a
Let's
classic
be honest.
story.
Naga's problem was it was too many camera movements.
Yes. Honestly, that was the main issue.
Everyone's like, yo, we just want to see the story. Bro.
That was the main complaint.
Yes.
I'd say Naga had more problems with that, but sure.
The main one. That's what I'm saying.
It's about the main
one.
problem.
No, again,
The obvious problem.
The obvious problem, but it's people who are tackling it on the surface level. But again, the issue here is still like, I'll take the camera movements. I'll take the annoying cinematography.
If it fit.
If it fit, but the main issue that I had with Naga was the script. Like it didn't have the justification to be that long. It would have been an amazing 45-minute movie. Like again,
it could have done with some more أحداث مختلفة, let's say.
Again, like my point here, that applies to both Mandoob and Naga. My guys, my brothers, hire an editor.
I think they have one.
I'm pretty sure they do.
I'm pretty sure they have one.
Just at least
Give
one.
him a raise.
At least one, definitely. But Adil, if anything, you should start coming to the cinema with us.
Bro, let's be honest, we're not friends.
Nantucket.
Nantucket is the States.
Nantucket is
We're
the
talking Naktak, Adil.
Is it a state?
Well, anyway, we appreciate y'all for...
Yes, there once was a man from there.
From Nantucket.
Yes.
All right, we haven't done this in a while.
That was a good discussion, fellas. Well done, bravo. Houjan.
We totally ignored Hojan.
Shall be discussed later. No, honestly, Houjan, I'm the only one that saw it.
I'll see it, but I have expectations already.
I'll put it out there. It's nowhere near as good as Mandoob or Naga were for me.
I believe my expectations are يحل لكم الحجز.
شوف,
Number one said that wasn't me.
يحل لكم applies to the movie. Does apply to them.
Cute. سويتم Twilight.
All right, I guess we'll save that for next episode. Thank you for joining us.
I'll watch it and come back.
Next episode.
Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. Hope you guys had a good time. I don't know why am I saying this now.
Can we go home now?
Let's go home?
Yeah.
All right. See you next episode.
Peace.
Yeah. Peace.